Hello everyone, welcome back. You are watching the Data Labs. My name is Dilip. This is the part 3 of the tutorial Transfer Data from Microsoft Excel to Google Sheet. In the second part of the tutorial, we learned how to create Google Sheets, Google Form, link the Google Form with existing Google Sheets and get the prefilled link of Google Form for further coding. In this part of the tutorial, we will understand the prefilled link which we generated from Google Form and pasted in Notepad. And after understanding the prefilled link and the modification required in that particular link, we will write the code is a procedure to transfer the data from Microsoft Excel to Google Sheet. So first of all, let's understand the prefilled link which we generated and pasted in Notepad. So let's move to Notepad window. And here you can see that this is the prefilled link which we copied and pasted here. So to understand this link, we need to break this link in two different parts. So let's break the link. So just break the link after view form and then question mark. So this would be the first part of the link, the URL, and this would be the last part of the URL. Okay, so let's understand one by one. So this is the first part of the URL, and this particular URL is only to view the Google form. So here we need to make some changes in the first part so that we can utilize in our coding to transfer the data from Microsoft Excel to Google Sheet. So let's replicate the first part of the URL here. Just copy this and paste over here, and we just need to replace the view form and question marks. Just delete this and let's add this will be form response, then question mark, and then IFQ. So we do not need to do anything apart from these particular changes. We just need to replace the view form and then question mark with form response and then question mark and IFQ. This is the only changes we need to do in the first part. Let's move to the second part of the URL and understand it. The second part is very critical, so let's understand it. So the second part of the URL contains name attributes which are required to transfer the data, like the employee ID, employee name, gender, and designation, and the address. So here we have the attributes, like this is the attributes like entry.1196. This particular number is for employee ID. This attribute is for employee name, and for this attribute the value is male, and this is for gender basically, and this attribute is for designation, and the value is current value is manager, and the last attribute is for address, and the value is address. So here what we need to do, we need to utilize the URL from starting from ampersand till address. So let's copy this entire text and paste over here. So we do not need this information while transferring the data from Excel to Google Sheet. So we are not going to utilize this. We will use starting from ampersand to address. So this is the second part of URL, and while transferring the data we will utilize the variable name for each and every field. So what we need to do, we need to replace the employee ID, that is the value for this particular attribute, and we will replace the employee ID with respective variable name, right? Same goes for employee name, same goes for gender. Male will get replaced by the variable name for gender, and same goes for designation, like we will replace the manager with the variable for designation, and same goes for address. Okay, and at the end of the second part second part of URL, basically we will add ampersand submit is equal to submit. Okay, so these are the changes which are required to do in our second part. So we are not going to make any changes in Notepad. We will make all those changes while writing the code, write the coding in our Visual Basic application window. Okay, so now we have a fair understanding of the technicalities and changes required in URL. Let's write the pending sub procedure to transfer the data from Microsoft Excel to Google Sheet. Okay, so let's move to Excel window, and here you can see that we are in Visual Basic application. Just double click on module, and we have, as we have already written reset code, so the next procedure would be send to Excel. So this code is going to be very critical and crucial, so I will try to explain the code and put the comments against all tough code so that it can help you in understanding, and also whenever you refer the Excel file after downloading the Excel sheet from our site, right? So let's start writing the sub procedure that is sent to Google Sheet. So before writing, let's create some room over here so that you can see clearly. Okay, so now we have sufficient space over here to write the code. So let's write the sub procedure name. So the sub procedure name would be send to Google. So this is the sub procedure. Let's start declaring some variables. So first of all, we need dim URL underscore first as a string. Let's put comment over here. Data. Okay, let's declare the second variable for URL. So dim URL underscore a last string. Let's put the comment for this variable as well. Okay, let's declare one more variable for URL. So that dim form URL as a string, and this particular URL will be for the final URL. It will contain the final URL. So okay, so all these three variables are associated with the URL link. First of all, we will use this URL first to assign the first part of the URL last to assign the last part of the URL, and once we will make the changes in both the URL, we will combine both the URL and then we will reassign it to form URL. That would be the last URL, the final URL for to transfer the data from Excel to Google Sheet. Okay, let's declare two variables that are associated with the reference which we are using, the XML. Okay, so first dim header name as a string, and this particular variable is required to store the header type, that is content type, and we need this variable to transfer the data, right? So let's put comment over here, variable to store header type, that is content type. Okay, let's declare one more variable. So dim send id as a string. Okay, so this is this particular variable is required to store the information to send a particular information or particular data to Google Form. Okay, so let's put comment over here, store the information required to send a particular data to Google Form. Okay, so let us declare variables to store user inputs from Excel user form. So let's put comment over here, variable to store user inputs from Excel user form. Let's declare variables. So first would be dim employee ID as string. So this is for employee ID. Dim employee name as string. This is for employee name. Dim gender as string. This is for gender like male and female. Dim designation as string. Dim address as string. So as in our form we have 5 different fields like employee ID, employee name, gender, designation and address. So all these variables are required to store the inputs received from user through UserForm. Okay, now let's assign the user inputs to variables. So assign user inputs to variables. Okay, so first is employee ID is equal to frm form.emp txt employee ID dot value. Second is employee name and it will come from frm form.txt name dot value. Okay, for gender, so gender would be, let's utilize if function over here, if frm form dot opt female dot value is equal to true, then that would be female, otherwise male. So we forgot here. Okay, designation, that would be frm form dot cmb designation dot value. Okay, and address would be frm form dot txt address dot value. So now we have done with assigning each and every user input to respective variable, that is employee name, employee ID, employee name, gender, designation and address. Let's move, and now here we are going to utilize the XML reference. So for that we need to declare the variable for that. So let's variable to store what we need to send to server. So it means server means Google Sheet. So we will be sending data from our Excel or our computer to Google server. So for that we need to declare a variable, and as we have already added a reference for Microsoft XML version 6.0, so let's declare a variable for that. Dim ticket information, so info as msxml 2 dot server. So this is server xml http 60, and this variable let's put comment over here. So xml variable to send the information to server, that is Google. Okay, and as we have already declared a variable that is header name, so here you can see that we have already declared a variable header name. So I think we have typed incorrect. Okay, so this is header name and this is for send ID. So let's start utilizing all these variables, the two variables. Okay, so header name is equal to, and that it should be content type. So this is the header name, and let's send ID, and the send ID would be application and then /x www.form URL encoded, and then semicolon, char set is equal to UTF-8. So this is the send ID which is required to send a particular information to Google Form, as we have already put comment while declaring this variable. So the send ID is application and then /x hyphen www and then form, then again hyphen URL and then encoded semicolon and then char set is equal to UTF-8. Okay, now let's make the changes in first part of URL. So let's start URL underscore first, and let's move to the notepad window and just copy the link from starting from HTTPS to form response $IFQ, and then move to the Visual Basic application window and let's assign, paste this, and okay. So we have, let's reduce the size. So here we have already made the changes, that is replacing the view form with form responses, and here form response is used to get the response from Google Form after submitting the details. Okay, so let's move to the second part of the URL, that is URL underscore last. Okay, let's move to the notepad and just copy the second part of the URL after excluding USP and equal to pp underscore URL. So we do not need this, and this is the reason we just copied the URL part from this one and here pasted over here. So let's utilize this, copy this and move to the Visual Basic application window and just paste in double quotes. So here, as I already told you, that we need to replace this imp id, the value for each and every attributes with the respective variable name, and as we have already declared and assigned the value to each and every variable, that is employee ID, employee name, gender, designation and address. So let's start utilizing that. So just copy this employee ID, this one, and paste over here. So before pasting it, just concatenate with ampersand and here again. Okay, and now just put the variable. So this is now let's copy this from starting from double quote till double quote. Okay, and just replace the employee name with that. Now we need to change the employee ID with employee name, so just copy the employee name here from here and paste over here. Just copy this from double quote to double quote here and just move it and replace this for gender. So just select the male and replace this. Just copy the gender from here and just move it and replace the employee name variable and paste over here. Let's copy this double quote starting from double quote and till here and replace the designation, that is manager, with that. And now we need to change the variable here. This is gender, but actual variable should be designation. So copy the designation and replace the gender with designation. Now we have only one part, the last variable is left. So just copy this and replace this here and copy the address, the variable actual variable name, and replace the designation. Okay, so we have done with this is the attribute name for employee ID, and this is the employee ID variable. This is attribute name for employee name. This is employee name variable. and this is the attribute name for gender, and this is gender variable. This is the attribute name for designation, and this is the designation variable, and this is the last attribute, that is for address. So let's this is for address, and this is for address, and this is the address variable. Okay, now we have replaced all those values with the respective variable name. Now we need to add the submit at the end of this particular URL. Okay, so the last part would be the ampersand submit is equal to submit. So at the end of this particular URL we added submit is equal to submit, and this is for posting all the data whatever we have specified in one step. It means it will post all those details which are available in the variable which we have provided here, right? It will post all the information to Google. So now we have done with the URL first and URL last. Let's create the final URL. So creating final URL. Okay, and as we have already declared the variable for that, so let's use that variable to form underscore URL and URL underscore first ampersand URL underscore last. This should be last. Okay, so we have created the final URL. Let's start writing code. So let's set the reference for ticket information. So set ticket info. We have already declared a variable ticket info. So ticket info would be new server XML HTTP 60. So setting the reference, so let's put comment over here. So setting reference of new server XML HTTP 60. Okay, and let's open the ticket info. So ticket info dot open, and it should be post because we are posting the information to Google server, and form underscore URL. Okay, and what we are posting the form URL to Google, and the var sync should be false. So let's put comment here, posting the entire link. This means form URL. So ticket info dot open and then post and comma form underscore URL, then comma false. Let's specify the name of an HTTP header. So ticket info dot set and request header, and the header name, as we have already assigned header name in that particular variable, that is header name, and then bstr value should be send id. So we have already declared a variable for send id and assigned value in send id. Let's put comment for this particular line. It specifies the name of an HTTP header. Okay, press Ctrl S to save this code. Now we need to write the code to send all the information over Google. So here the next line would be dot send. Okay, so let's put comment over here. So send all information to Google. Now suppose we are sending the information, then we need to get the status, whether the data transferred by user has been submitted on Google or not. So here we are passing the data from Excel to Google Sheet or Google Form basically. So in that case, we need to identify whether the information which have been submitted through Excel form has been transferred to Google Sheet or Google Form successfully or not. So in that case, we need to get the notification from Google. So let's write the code. So if ticket info dot status text, if status text is okay, it should be inverted comma in okay, then so it means if the status would be okay, it means data has been successfully transferred. So in that case, we need to reset this form. Okay, then let's call reset, and then we need to send a message, pop-up a message basically, message box, thank you for submitting the data, right? And suppose if data has been transferred but it has not been transferred successfully basically, so in that case we need to pass a message to user in the message box, and that should be please check your internet connection and required details. Okay, and then and if okay, let's remove this extra line and let's debug, compile. Okay, so here we have used a different name, that should be FRM form. Let's again to debug and then compile. So there is no compile error as of now. Let's expand this project explorer. So now we have done with the writing the code to transfer the data from Excel to Google Sheet, and these all are codes. Okay, so let's call this the procedure send to Google on FRM form. So let's double click on FRM form here and just double click on add. Okay, and again so we need to get the confirmation from user whether user wants to transfer the data or user has accidentally clicked on add button. So in that case we need to get the confirmation first, and then we will call the send to Google sub procedure. So just copy the code which are available in the reset cmd reset underscore click and just paste over here and just change the message box. Do you want to transfer the data to Google Sheet? VV yes no confirmation. And if suppose user has selected VV no, it means we do not need to proceed with the other codes. It will get terminated over here. If yes, then we need to call the sub procedure, that is send to Google. Okay, let's click on debug and compile. So no error. Now we need to declare a procedures to show the form. So let's click on module here and just insert a sub procedure, that would be sub show form. Okay, and here frm form dot show. So this is to load the form and show the form basically. Let's move to Excel window, and we need to assign the macro on this particular launch form button. Let's right click on this particular button and click on assign macro, and here in macros in, so just select this workbook and select the show form, click on OK. Let's press Ctrl S to save this. So now we have done with all the codings to handle this automation. Let's run this form. So let's click on launch form, and you can see that the form has started appearing on our window. So first of all, let's close this form and go to Excel, the Google, basically the Google form here, and just move to the Google Drive and just open the Google Sheet. And as of now we can see that there is only one record. So let's start passing the data through Excel and see whether it is getting transferred or not. So let's Google Sheet, here launch form, and let's start entry 124, maybe Sonu, mail, and address would be Delhi, and let's click on add. So once you click on add, it will get the confirmation. So let's select yes, and you can see that data has been successfully transferred. It means there is no error in our code, and it is showing thank you for submitting the data. So let's click on OK and then move to Google, and here you can see that this is the second record. Okay, and if you want to see the form responses, you can click on responses over here, and summary. These are the two records which have been submitted, like the employee ID 123 and 124, name Dilip Kumar, Sonu, gender female, male. So these are the responses which we have received. The one is from the Google form directly, and the second one is from the Google Microsoft user form, like the Excel user form. Okay, so let's close this form. Let's open the sheet parallelly in the same window and see how it works basically. So live transferring data from form to Google. Okay, launch form here, and let's add 1122, employee Mr. X, mail, and a TL, and new city, and click on add. So as of now you can see that only two records. Let's click on yes and see how it's working. And this is the real-time transfer, you can see that. So it means, suppose you have a big team, one team is sitting on different location and one team is on different location. So you can provide the Excel file as well as the form link, this form link, to all the users and ask them to transfer the data. So you do not need to worry about how data will get transferred and what is the size of, because like Google Drive provides 15 GB free space, and 15 GB is basically huge space for data collection. And again, you do not need to worry whether maybe some users are in field and they are doing some marketing job and they do not have a laptop. So in that case, that particular user will be able to transfer the data with the help of Google form basically. Okay, and this is a full ecosystem where you can utilize Google Sheet and Google Drive as a database, Google form as a front end, and Microsoft Excel user form as a front end. So this is a complete package. Okay, so friends, this is all about developing an automated user form to transfer data from Excel sheet to Google Sheet, and you can use the same logic to build complex application for your office or personal use. Please visit our website www.thedataLabs.org to download the file and code which has been used in this particular tutorial. You can also download several automated utility tools, graphs, and dashboard. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe and comment. Have a great day. Bye bye.